Hello and welcome to today's video. Like the previous line, we start from Hakaniemi, and like I already slightly promised in my previous video, line 73 will be followed by line 74. But this is not a Connell song, so whether 75 will come after 74, I will not know yet. It depends on things. But we begin in Hakaniemi. We stop at Haapaniemi, at Sörnäinen, at Ristikokatu, at Paavalinkirkko, at Kumpulan campus, at Sumatrantie, and at Koskelan Varikko, and then we start this huge run on the highway, running all the way until Viikki. And from Viikki, we move on to Pihlaistontie and on to Meripihkatie. And then we continue along with the route 73, which I created in the previous video, stopping at Malmin hautausmaa, Hiekkiventie, Vanha Helsingin tie, Riihenkulma, Alamalmi, and Malmi station. We follow the line 73 all the way until Malmin Tori. But then we take a right turn and we start creating new stops from here. And let me first have a look at the map, what's going to happen here next. The following stop is called Viljakuja. And, well, Spanmålsgränd, it's not a very difficult thing to guess the name of the track there, or the stop there. We'll go on creating city roads, and Viljakuja Spanmålsgränd is located over here. And then that's it. That's the first turn of events here. And that's our stop over there. The following stop is at Malmin Raitti 15, which is Malms Bygata 15, and let me just check it. It's over there. There is a big sports facility around the area. And that's where we'll stop. From there, we'll be continuing. Well, let's not continue anywhere just yet. Let's create this section of the road. And from Malmin Raitti 15, we will continue northwards. And we will then stop at Huhtakuja, which is a stop right over here. So we'll turn all the way until here. And from Huhtakuja, we'll move on to Huhtapuisto. Fallokasparken. Which is over here. And then moving on forward to Kotinummentie, called Hemmalmsvägen. And moving on. We stop at Halmettie, Brennvägen, and then we next stop at Viertolantie, which is pretty close by. It's over here. That one's called Viertolevägen. Then we stop at Tapanila railway station. This is not a stop of its own, but I will wait until creating tracks before fixing it because, well, you've seen some issues with this type of track trying to prolong the stations unnecessarily. And so I will try to avoid the issue by just creating the tracks first and then making the changes with the station. And now let's edit the station. This is, like I said, not a station of its own. It's called Tapanilan Asema, so I will make it a part of that that station over there. That's a good transit stop. Then let's see what will happen next. After Tapanilan asema, it's gonna be Tapanilan tori, Mosabakka. This is the interesting thing, because it's now called Staffansby tori in Swedish instead of Mosabakka tori. What's happening over here? This does not look the way it's supposed to look, so let's start from this, and then I think the issue is with that stretch of track being pretty short. But nevertheless, that odd behavior has now been fixed. And then what's gonna happen next is that we're going to stop at Päiväläntie. So we're gonna build this track. There were actually quite a few stops in this area for some strange reason, but the following stop really is Päiväläntie over here. I will probably have to build this turn manually. No, I don't. That's absolutely great. And by manually, I mean by adding the tracks separately. So then we turn on to Päiväläntie, and we stop at Moisiontie, and Tapanilankaari, and Porvarintie, and Puistola Station, Hatuntekijänkuja, but then we turn once again to different direction. We turn right, I think, and we'll stop at Terrintie. It's called Terrivägen, right on the other side of the track, and I wonder if the road actually goes below or above the track. Well, it doesn't actually matter. I will just build a bridge over the track, although I believe it's an underpass, but never mind. Let's build a bridge here. Shall we? Crossing the track there nicely. And then connecting with this stretch of track over here. Would you mind making a nicer turn there? Would you? Yes, that's perfect. That's perfect of you. Thank you very much. And after the crossing, there's the bridge, which became a bit unnecessarily long, but who cares? Once again, it's just game money. And there are actually only a couple of stops left more in here, so this was a pretty straightforward line to create. Then we have Puistolan tori, or Parstastori, which is here. I also know this place very well. Been there a couple of times. And then what happens next is that we're going to stop at Karrintie. Where's Karrintie? It's Karrivägen after the crossing over here. There we go. And after Karrintie, the following stop is called Puistolan Kirkkopars. That's Chirkka most likely. Yes, that's quite correct. Oh, it was named correctly. Wonderful. Then what do we have? Then we have Puistolan VPK. Pakstas FPK. This is, it's a certain type of association. Let's just put it that way. So we've come quite a long way, but there's not long to go anymore. What line stops there? Okay, so we're getting pretty close to line 69 actually, but one of my favorite lines, like I've said previously. And then we have Nummitie. Nummitie okay. Well, I'm not confident that the stop does not have a Swedish speaking name, but I accept this. The HSL application says so, and that's what we'll have to honor. So there we stop. And then the terminus of the line is called Taking Laakso, Henriksdal. And there will probably be a loop in the roundabout, so let's just create a double track over there. And that's it. That is it. The track has almost been created, and it's again time to create the line. And what we'll have to do is we'll just close those tracks there and then do the roundabout, which means there will be a roundabout in here. Other lines also run through this area, so they will now have to be faced with one of my first roundabouts. Too bad for them. And there we go. The tracks are ready, and the only thing left here is to create a line. Which is again blue. and it starts from here. Now let's once again see if I can actually push this line through its intended route without checking at the maps. And I think I can, because this is the difference. The only difference to line 73. Well, I made it. What a difficult thing to do there. And then I think it went through here, and through here, and through here. This is also quite a familiar route to me for one reason or another. And then we ran it all the way to Koskela Varikko, Sumatran tie and Kumpulan campus. Then we stop at Paavalinkirkko and at Vallilan Varikko. Hauhonpuisto skip, Ristikkokatu, Lautatarhankatu skip. Those are tram stops. We stop at Sördäinen, we skip Lintulahti. Stop at Haapaniemi, we stop at Hakaniemi, and then we go back. So that was quite a straightforward route, straightforward line. If you haven't already noticed, I like these straightforward lines. We do not stop there. I have nothing against playing this game, but I just don't like too long projects. Well, this, of course, is one hell of a long project if I intend to create all of the collective traffic in the capital region, let alone move to other cities in this country. Of course, there are only 3 cities, or 4 or 5, well, whatever, with a very extensive system like this. Finland is easy, but there are things after Finland, and I at least have the let's say it's the idea of creating as much as I can. So obviously this is another never-ending project, but let's see how far I will get. I just started from Finland because it's familiar to me. I mean, I live in this city. I know how things work here. Probably in order to create stuff in other cities, I would have to visit the cities. I could do that, but another line is complete here, and now we just have to check how often the buses run on this line. And the answer is it's a 30-minute split. Well, they run every 20 minutes. That's a nice thing to have, and that's what we'll obey, and 20 minutes it is. So we do still need quite a bit of buses for this line. Doesn't bother me though, we've got money. One more bus, I guess. Yes, that's perfect. That's just perfect. And there it is. Line 74 is completed. And, well, naturally, after 74 would come 75. But like I said, this is not necessarily a Connell song. So you will just have to wait and see until tomorrow what I will create for you. So until then, bye.